If you don't like hearty recipes, and you don't like rib stickers, and you don't like oatmeal, just scroll past this recipe. This one's not for you. But if you're like me, and you're an oat lover, like a really big oat lover, you'll love this. This Blackberry Oatmeal Pancake recipe has 2 cups of oats, and they're hearty and delicious, and we've packed them with blackberries and blackberry syrup. So if that sounds good, yay, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Carolyn, and this is the Chili Bakes Gluten-free podcast, where I make gluten-free that tastes so good you won't miss the wheat. Well, today's recipe, there's hardly any flour in it anyway. Mostly it's whole grain oats with just a little sugar, so you can eat these as healthfully as you want, or like I do, with lots of butter and blackberry syrup, which is definitely a good option. So glad you're here with me. So glad you joined me. Welcome. I was going to say, welcome to the show. What am I talking about? Welcome to the YouTube channel and also podcast. I'm happy to have you here with me in my kitchen. And I hope you get some gluten-free information that you haven't had before, or maybe someone to walk you through stuff, or some interesting recipes, or maybe entertained, or any of those, all of them, whatever works for you. Anyway, let's get to baking. All right, as far as special ingredients goes, it's really helpful, especially if you're making pancakes for a crowd, to have an electric griddle. I have a big one that I've had forever. It's really, really nice. It doesn't stick. It's great. So you don't have to have it. You can use a hot pan with butter, and that works as well. So the other thing I really like for pancakes is scoopers. This one's like a mini, what the heck do you call it? Silver dollar size scoop. I don't know what size this is. It's an antique and it just usually falls apart, but I thought it was really cool. And then this is my usual go-to. It's the number 24 scoop that I use for almost all my cookies. It's great. It's great. I've had it for years. It's amazing. And it's perfect for pancakes. Get those beautiful round pancakes. Well, in theory. Now watch, they're not going to be round. So that's all you need. Blackberries and syrup. But those are in the recipe. So pretty easy. Not much that's special. Oh, buttermilk. Sometimes it's hard to find buttermilk in the store. So what I do for buttermilk is you can use milk and you can sour it. I use about a tablespoon of fresh lemon juice for a cup of milk. And that's how I do it. So for the very first step, which is a little unusual for pancakes, we're adding 2 cups of oats, old-fashioned oats, in a bowl with 2 cups of buttermilk. And this is going to soak overnight, and we're going to mix it, and we're just going to let it sit. And of course, I forgot a mixer. There we go. And we'll let all this liquid soak in. And that way it'll be ready for tomorrow's breakfast. Here's how we're going to make the blackberry syrup. We're going to take 6 to 8 ounces of fresh blackberries, washed of course, 3/4 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. The little acid in the lemon will bring out the berry flavor. 1/2 cup of water, and the zest of 1 lemon. Now I'm going to take this off camera and cook it. I'm going to boil it till the fruit softens and thickens up, and then we're going to strain it. So here's the syrup after I brought it to a boil. The blackberries are now pink. They're beautiful. And I thought, why is the syrup so thin? Well, I added half the sugar. So here's the other half of the sugar. It's fine to add it now. So it's another 3/4 cup. So it's 1.5 cups of sugar, not 3/4, duh. And yes, syrup is sugary. So now we're going to cook this down, and I changed spoons because I have a slotted spoon so I can smush. I want to be able to squish the blackberries and get as much juice and flavor out, and then we're going to strain it, and look at how pretty that syrup is. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this back on the stove and thicken it up, and then I'll show you. So we cooked the syrup. I cooked the syrup a little longer. You can see the berries have broken down here, and it's thickened a little bit. If your syrup isn't thickening, you can always add more sugar and just cook it till it dissolves, or if you want it sweeter. And now this is ready to strain. I can tell it's going to be thick enough just because I've made syrup enough, but if you don't know, here's how I would do it. You take a cold plate, and then you can just spoon a little bit on here, right? And see how thick it is. See how that syrup consistency? I know it's thick enough. And if I know it by looking at it, but now you can really see. So we know it's ready to take off the fire, and we're gonna strain it. Ooh, this sucker's hot. And then I'll probably have to push through some of the berry solids because they're clogging up the filter here. And we're left with the seeds and the solids. And look at that pretty, beautiful syrup. All right, I'm going to continue doing this off camera, and we're done with the syrup. All right, here are the other dry ingredients. The oats are soaking in oatmeal, so I'm not going to consider them dry ingredients. And since we have 2 cups of whole grain oats, I feel like this is kind of a healthy recipe, or healthier. It's almost like a bowl of oatmeal. Anyway, we're using half a cup of cup-for-cup gluten-free flour, and we're using half a teaspoon of sweet rice flour. Get off of there. We're using a tablespoon of sugar. You could use coconut sugar or brown sugar. Those would both taste good too. Half a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder. Remember that baking soda reacts to sour, which is we have in the buttermilk. And I believe baking powder is double acting. So I think it reacts initially and then also in the heat of the oven, but I really should research that. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. That's optional, but I think cinnamon with oats and berries is always a good thing. You could substitute for allspice. You could do a little nutmeg. Yeah, whatever you want. And we're just going to whisk this and we'll be done. And if you wanted to save time the day you were going to eat the pancakes, I would soak the oats and the buttermilk and then make the dry mix, make the syrup the day before if you're going to make syrup. And then when you wake up and do the pancakes, it's just a really quick mix. And we're done. So let's mix the wet ingredients. We're doing 2 large eggs that we're going to beat. I should have beaten these in the smaller bowl. And then I have a 1/4 cup of melted butter. If yours is very hot, you can add it, if it's not boiling, you can add it, just add it slowly so that it doesn't cook the eggs, which is not what we want. There's that. And 2 tablespoons of applesauce. I always like to add applesauce to gluten-free bakes. It makes them moist, more moist. And who doesn't like that? Hi, Indy. What are you doing, honey? Hi, buddy. Hi, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. He's rolling his ball around. Now he's snuffling my arm. Trying to get some attention. All right. There it is. And that's your wet. All right, so now it's time to mix things together. This is what the oatmeal, can you see that? I feel like it's not focusing nicely. Let me try to focus this. There we go. The oatmeal and buttermilk. It's pretty thick, right? It's kind of like overnight oats. And actually, this isn't even overnight. You could do it overnight, but it's pretty much soaked up all the liquids. So what we're gonna do, I switched to a Dutch whisk, which is really good for thick things. If you hear chomping, it's Indy playing with his ball, not me. And we're gonna add the eggs and butter. This looks strange. I admit it looks strange. And not the best kind of strange, but these will be delicious, I promise. What? This isn't for dogs. That's pretty much mixed in. I got some on my apron, which must mean I'm cooking. There it is. And then the dry goes in. This is a very, very thick batter. In fact, it's so thick that I don't put the blackberries in it. I scoop the pancakes and then I add the blackberries. So, okay. And we just want to mix that in. So we want to make sure that leavening gets in there nicely, because that'll help that's what makes your pancake rise. And there we go. Look at that. This is a crazy recipe. A little bit crazy. And now we get to, whoops, heat up the griddle. All right, so let's test the griddle. I like to flick a little water on it to see if it dances a little bit like that, then I feel like it's hot enough. Although my griddle is so old that sometimes it decides to get really hot and then not hot. So we'll see how this cooks. I'm gonna butter this because I like the way brown butter makes things taste. And we're gonna make these big. This is about ½ cup. I'm gonna use two of these. Well, maybe 1.5. Oi, oi, oi. Okay, maybe that's 2. And I'm going to flatten it. I'm going to use a damp hand, which I know that's weird, but I'm going to kind of flatten it, and then we're going to put the blackberries in it like that. That looks a little crazy, doesn't it? But I swear it's going to taste good. Okay, and then I'm going to scoop some more, and we'll see what happens here. So since these pancakes are a lot thicker than normal, it's basically like an oatmeal pancake. We're going to peek on the other side to see how it's browning. It's browning nicely, but it could probably use a little bit more time. Normally when you're cooking pancakes, you look for the bubbles to kind of set up on the outside. Well, obviously this has so much oatmeal, you can't really do that. Oh, and the other thing I was going to tell you was it helps to have smaller berries. If you have giant blackberries in the middle, they're beautiful for the top, so I have big ones for the top, but I use the small ones inside the pancake. And yeah, I think they might be ready to flip. Let's see. Oh yeah. And a definitive, you know, when you flip your pancake, you don't want to, what am I saying here? You want to do it with conviction. Oh, and then maybe you lose a blurry. That's fine. I think it's because I did it twice, or at least that's what I'm going to say. So, I mean, these are crazy pancakes. Look at them. But delicious. And then I kind of squish them down because they're so big. I mean, these are some filling pancakes. You will not need 6 of these to be full. All right, I'm gonna let these finish cooking and get them on a plate. All right, how do you know when these suckers are done? They're awfully thick. They should sort of spring back a little bit when you touch them. You can do my mom's trick. See, I put the blackberry back in. The edges should be cooked. This one needs a few more minutes. But my mom would always just poke the inside like this so she could see if there was dough or not. I know, maybe it's not that pretty, but you put that on the bottom of someone's stack, right? That's just the reality of it. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is if you have to flip it again, okay, flip it again. It doesn't really matter, right? Really doesn't matter. Like, really, really doesn't matter. The point is to have a yummy pancake. If you have to flip it twice because you didn't know how long to cook it, then do it. Yeah, just do it, right? It's better to make homemade pancakes and flip them twice. They're still 100 times better than pancakes somewhere else. Let's start with a pat of butter, because I do love butter. Yeah. Optional. Berries. Yeah. Berries on top, stay. And some of this yummy syrup. So if your syrup got thick, like mine, you can just microwave it. That doesn't look good at all. No, that looks terrible. Just kidding. I think it looks amazing. You could also put some chopped pecans, a little bit of, you know me, I like the mint sprig. That looks nice, right? You could put some Greek yogurt on there, all kinds of ways to do this. So I think that looks lovely. You could obviously add more syrup, but yum, yum. All right, I finally get to sit and eat. I always get to photograph it first, which is really hard to wait, but look at these beautiful pancakes. This is basically like the most fun way to eat oatmeal ever. People like overnight oats, but how about overnight oatmeal pancakes? Yum. This will keep me full for all day, for sure. Let's try them out. They are chock full of oats. The blackberry syrup is phenomenal. Yum. I will give you options. If you don't want to make blackberry syrup, I totally get it. You can make berry syrup very easily a couple different ways. Or, gosh, you can use honey and nuts and Greek yogurt. These are such yummy, hearty pancakes that you can eat them lots of ways. But I like the blackberry with blackberry syrup. So fresh fruit, oats. Really good. There's a little hint of cinnamon. I like it, but if you don't like cinnamon with your oatmeal or berries, it would be more like a berry oat deal, which would also be good. Yum. Yum. They're super hearty, but soft and tender. You know, it's like, I've got blackberry in my teeth, so I'm sorry. It's like oatmeal in a bowl, but way better. Way better. I will be eating this all week. Yum. Yeah, there's only half a cup of flour in here, and it's mostly whole grain oats, which is great. You could use blueberries with it, and any other soft berry. I don't know if I use strawberry. I don't really like cooked strawberries, but that's a personal choice. But seasonal blackberries with blackberry syrup. So good. I hope you had fun on this bake with me. I had a great time. I'm starving. It's now 3 o'clock and I haven't eaten yet. So busy doing all the stuff that's so fun to do. So thanks for joining me in the kitchen. I'm really glad you joined me here. I will be back September 20th and I'll be making cinnamon roll scones, which are easy and fun and delicious. A great, I was going to say intro to fall dish. You can eat cinnamon rolls anytime, but it's just one of those nice things. It's easy enough to make as a snack or have it for breakfast. You can make, you can do all kinds of things with it. How can you go wrong with a scone, right? With a little swirl of cinnamon sugar, so good. And you don't usually find them made that way, and especially not gluten-free. All right, my friends, until next time, you can find me in all the places, Instagram, TikTok, etc., YouTube, of course, Anchor Podcasts. Until next time, though, have fun in the kitchen, bake something gluten-free. I am, sorry about the fork scrape. So much blackberry. So much blackberry. These are good. You should try them. Yum.